Welcome to another edition of Insurance Questions Podcast, number 99. But it's Tuesday, July 2nd. It's not Insurance Questions. What is it, Sarah?
Tax Questions Podcast.
Number 11.
Yeah, thank you for not asking me because I'd have given you the same answer.
I'm not going to ask anymore. So just to let you folks know that all the comments and statements by Eddie Buffalo, Sassy Sarah, and Donnie Lowe are purely for entertainment purposes. So how's everybody doing?
And like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the things, send the fan mail. Bother Eddie on TikTok because he loves the attention. And that means he's not bothering me when he's getting contact from you guys.
Well, you've been busy this week, so I haven't been able to talk to you.
And don't forget to download the videos.
I'm not getting any of that sisterly love anymore, and I'm sad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, it's just been super busy just trying to get caught up. So we hired someone last week, trying to get her set up. And, of course, technology is not working, so that's just taking more time getting stuff done. But I do want to say, Mr. Eddie, that when you start yelling at me about forms and what forms are used for tax purposes, it throws me off if that's not where my brain is. And so there was an error last week. It's not the 1099 form for gambling. You get a W-2G. So I was right on the G. But yeah, the 1099-G is more of government payments. Like if you got interest payments, unemployment, etc., stuff like that.
So you still can't figure out what I filled out when I won that money at UB.
It is a W-2G. So there's multiple things that need to happen. One, it's not guaranteed you're going to get that form from the casino. And two, it only shows your winnings. It doesn't show your losings, which Donnie already laughed at me for. It should be losses, but I'm going to say losings. So it offsets everything. And let's say you won $40,000 and you lost $60,000. You only get to count the losses up to your winnings. So the extra $20,000 you lost is over and done with. You can't ever capture that. And if you hear my cat, I'm sorry. She's deaf. He's meowing back at the door again.
Hey, can I interrupt you for a second? See how politely I'm asking you that, Sarah? Because I want to talk about two exciting things that we did. And when I'm out and about, people ask me, what's the name of your podcast? We're on 30 different podcast channels. But in Insurance Questions Podcast, it doesn't sound that hard, but people forget it. So in my brain this morning, I thought it was a really cool idea to do a QRS code. And I tried it out with some of my friends at the gym. So right now, we're going to be posting the QRS code on our Facebook page, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you should be able just to click on it if you're on your phone. And other times, if you're on your laptop, you can just hit the thing. But most important, like Sarah said, like and subscribe so we can keep doing this show.
Are you saying QRS code or do you mean QR code?
QRS code.
There's no S. It's QR code.
It says on my app, QRS. You saying the app's lying to me? That's son of a...
It's a QR code.
I think they mean plural with the S. It's QR code.
And I wanted
I had to Google it first because I'm like, am I going crazy? Because
I didn't know you Googled things, Sarah.
You know what you're thinking of, Ed?
What?
Do you remember the business QRS in Buffalo? They made the rolls
before my time. I'm not as old as you, Don.
Well, this is very old technology.
By the way, I do request a divorce after us being a couple on the last episode. Divorce. That's what I want.
Annulment.
But before we get back to the show, I just want to say one more thing, Sarah. I know you don't like. I know you don't like when I talk about stuff that we haven't talked about, but
you do anyways.
This is pretty exciting. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for the Billy Sheen show, because as of this morning, that show is at 10.2 million listeners.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
So, keep on watching, folks, and we'll keep on doing these things. Just, I just got to talk to Sarah Donnie to quit interrupt me. They always step in on my words and stuff like that. So it isn't really good. Let me tell you what.
Whatever.
All right, so
I know that we've been doing awesome. So in the past 2 months, we went from under 1 million listeners to almost 8 million on our own. So it's great that it's even bumped up even more.
I gotta say, I think it's because of Donnie Lowe, because most of the comments are coming back, what a sexy is. So just saying.
Goodness.
I mean,
you better not tell him you're married, Don.
Well, it doesn't sound like you want to divorce him, Eddie.
Oh, you know what? I want to share Donnie with the world. Okay.
I didn't sign up for this.
It's selfish of me to keep him to myself. So Donnie, divorce. We're divorced. You go out there and spread your love. Peace and love, Donnie.
And
Peace and love.
Goodness.
For the listeners who don't know, Donnie is married to a
Very
woman,
happily married.
family.
Yes.
Just FYI, Eddie's just a goofball.
I'm done talking, so let's get back to the Sassy Sarah tax episode.
So I did do some research because the situation when you guys ask me tax questions and it's about another country, that's not something I'm really well versed in because I don't process those tax returns. I did double check. Canada does not tax gambling income. So if you go to Canada, you are supposed to still report the income on your U.S. tax return if you're a U.S. citizen. Canada does not report the money, so it is up to you to report it. Just remember, if you don't report it, it can cause issues if the U.S. government finds out about it. I always say just report. And again, especially if you have losses, you can offset those losses.
So, Donnie, ask her that question you were asking if you're an American citizen. Why don't you just open up a...
Yeah, I know in the past, and it used to be done this way, or it could be done this way. As an American citizen, you go into Canada and say you win some money at the casino. So a lot of people would open up a bank account in Canada and have the funds deposited into their Canadian bank account. So then when they would go back to Canada to visit, say take a day trip or an overnight weekend or whatever to Toronto, they can access their Canadian funds from their Canadian bank account to pay for their hotel and yada, yada, yada. So I don't know if it can be done anymore.
I know a little bit about this because I had an uncle that did very well on the stock market. And in the 70s and 80s, he would come back to Fort Erie to visit his money and take out what he needed to. But when the dollar became so much more than the Canadian dollar, it made no sense to do it. And they changed the laws in 1980 something that you had to live 6 months in Canada to actually have a bank account. If you already had a bank account, that's fine. But to open up a new one, you'd actually have to have a part-time residence there.
So. Interesting.
Oh, and shout out to Nick's wife, Erin. Erin probably punches harder than any man that's ever hit me in the boxing ring. Just saying. So I'm giving you some props there, girl. I heard that she's finally becoming an American citizen, which is pretty exciting for her. Because amazing story. Erin was a fantastic soccer player. She's a physician assistant now. And she left home in 8th grade to live with a foster family in the school that she would here have in the States. So I was always impressed by you, Erin. And but when you hit me, it still feels like a mosquito. So just saying, because you can't hit me if I'm in Texas.
She's going to track you down now.
All right, Sarah, I promise not to interrupt anymore.
No, you're good. So basically, since the 1970s, anyone who had foreign bank accounts, foreign property, or anything was supposed to report them to the IRS on their tax returns. I had to do a quick search of how long it's been enacted because it's been a thing for a while. There was an act by Congress that was done in 2010 to target non-compliance. So basically, if you have a foreign bank account, foreign property, now it's starting to be, we have to make sure that if you have ownership in some companies that are foreign companies, everything is documented on the tax return. What it does is some countries have relationships with the U.S. and agreements regarding taxation, so you won't be double taxed, but it still needs to be accounted for.
Are they worried about money laundering, Sarah?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And like I said, the IRS loves to tax people. So a lot of people don't understand the IRS. You have to look at as more of a business. It is not there to help you. They do offer some help, kind of. So if you call the IRS for any tax issues or questions, they can tell you what's going on with your account, but they cannot give advice. And they will flat out say, I can't answer that because I cannot give advice. You need to talk to a tax professional. There used to be a number, either individuals or CPAs, accounting firms could call and say, hey, this is a very complicated tax issue, and ask for guidance. And they would give it to them. And then they shut that down a few years ago. Because again, the more errors you make and the more things that they can throw at you, the more penalties and interest they can charge. And the reason it's called penalties and interest and not fees is because fees are capped by Congress. So they can charge you unlimited amount of interest and penalties.
That's our government working for us.
Well, I don't know why I was thinking about it the other day. I was talking to somebody. They saw my pictures from when I was kayaking in Aruba, and it took me back to your one episode when I said, "Yeah, it'd be great to retire in Aruba." And didn't you say it was like a 52% tax?
The taxes are more. So I've always given my daughter, she's 19 now, but I've given the advice to both of my kids. When you're looking at a car to buy, check and see how much the oil change costs, the normal repair and maintenance, what type of gas, what the insurance costs are before you sign to purchase the vehicle. Just to make sure it's something you can afford. You don't want a car that costs 5 times as much as a lower end car to maintain, and you don't have that kind of money. And it goes kind of the same thing. Look and see what the taxes are going to be. I know me and my husband have talked about moving to Tennessee and North Carolina. North Carolina has a state tax. I don't want to go from a non-state tax to a state tax. That makes no sense to me. Or I don't mind paying state tax for the income I earn in that state, but I don't want you to gather all my income. Mm-hmm. So there's just
a car right now is such a huge investment that you're throwing money away. I mean, I was reading something on the line that the average payment for a new car in America is $575, and it's not 48 months, it's not 62 months, it's like 75 months.
It's crazy.
So it's like, is car even going to be worth anything at the end of that time?
No. So I actually looked when the car market was really, really bad. I think it was like 2 years ago. I was looking at getting a newer car. I love my Journey. It is an amazing Journey. I just wanted a newer model. And come to find out, the one that I got the last year it was made. So I'm sticking with that one for a very long time. But everything tripled. And then I had people, when we were talking about negotiations, they're like, oh yeah, your payment's going to be this much. It was $700. I'm like, look, I'm never going to pay that much for a car ever in my entire life. It's either going to be $400 or less. And the lesser it is, the more I'm willing to sign. And they're like, oh, well, we don't do that anymore because of how the car industry is, because there was such that shortage because the chips and I'm like, then I don't need a car. Like this is a want, not a need.
Yeah.
Different situation. And it's just it doesn't make sense how everything is increasing. Profits are going up for companies, but you don't have wages going up to afford the things that are needed.
It's like it's a scale that's tipping and it's not tipping the right way.
Yeah,
Can I know something about your journey?
Yeah.
Car, 'cause it's a very nice car, but do you like your journey because you don't want to stop believing?
Yes. Yes. The only thing I do not like is it is
I'm
front
dying
wheel
over there.
drive. And if I am on a long hill and I stop, I'm screwed. And you just hear spinning and I'm freaking out that I'm going to roll backward. So I went to, funny story, I went to a nature preserve and it had really big hills and people were driving super slow and stopping on the hill. And I'm like, look, I'm behind you. There's cars behind me. I can't stop on a hill. That's dangerous. Stop it. And then there was one part where I was trying to go up and people started walking across and I'm like, I am going to run you over. I can't stop on a hill. And then I had to because I'm not trying to hit pedestrians. And I punched the gas and you just hear spinning and my car starts shaking and I make it up, but it was still like super freaky. I wish it was all-wheel drive or rear wheel drive, but
Well, let me ask you, do you enjoy driving that vehicle in the daytime or when the
yeah.
nights go down in the city? Just asking.
Actually, both.
Don dying again.
Nighttime, there's no traffic. So, hey.
I don't think Sarah knows what we're talking about.
No, she
Oh,
does.
I get it.
When the nights go down in the city.
I know. I figured you were
Is
going
the nickname-
somewhere. I just didn't know until you said it. And then I'm like, oh. Okay.
Is the nickname of your car, is it Sherry by any chance? Oh, Sherry, you need some gas. Oh,
Dude, you're going to get us taken down for copyright. You need to stop.
I sound so bad. They have no idea what these songs are. We would have got knocked off a long time ago.
Oh, goodness sake.
I know.
All right, Don. Now you can talk because I know you see you're giggling over there, and because I interrupted you.
Back to the cars and the payments. I know somebody, so I don't know why this deal was there for him, but he bought an electric vehicle, an EV, or he leased one, and his lease was less than $500. I don't know if it was less than $400. It was somewhere in maybe $400 to $500 a month. One payment down, and the lease is for 18 months. I was like, wow, that was quite a deal.
So I know that they're trying to push more people to leases.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the conspiracy theory, you'll own nothing and like it.
Yeah, but leasing has been so big. I'm wondering if they're trying to push people into the EVs.
That too, but with leases, usually there's a balloon payment at the end, or you have to put a lot of payment down. Or if you transfer your car, if it has a higher value than the car that you're getting, it's kind of the same thing. Only when you purchase the car, you're paying out the whole amount.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, leases, at least the ones that I've experienced, I don't know since I'm not your friend and I don't know what he signed. But typically there's a balloon payment at the end that you can use it if it's over a certain amount of wear and tear. You have to pay extra. Like there's a whole lot of things that go with leases. Yeah, I will say if you own a business and you lease a vehicle, the business can pay the full lease and write that off as a business expense.
Right.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a subchapter S, or can it be an LLC for the business?
No, it can still be an LLC.
How about a DBA? If people just have a DBA, they do
the DBA, you'll still have to file a Schedule C. So I always say talk to your tax professionals, see about your special deductions because it all just depends on what you can do. But yeah,
that's interesting. Good stuff today, Sarah.
Oh, I will actually also bring up there's this. You get an EV credit if you purchase EV vehicles.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But not if you lease one.
2032, you get a certain credit. Although it's certain vehicles, there are certain requirements that need to be met. So you can either look that up on the IRS website or talk to a tax professional.
See, my problem with those cars are that depending on where you live, Like when I used to visit the kids in Philly, they had tons of those places.
Mhm.
Here in Texas, I don't see a ton of them. How about in
Oh
Buffalo?
yeah,
Have you
no,
noticed
Charging
they're
more?
starting to
stations.
build them out. And then there's apps that you can download because I was looking at getting one. There are apps you can download that shows you all the charging stations. So if you go on road trips, my concern was I don't think they're that great for the environment. And I don't want to rely on electricity when the grid is not built up to handle that.
Yeah.
And I don't like hybrids because that's just I'm weird. I'm all in one or the other. I can't do halfway.
She
So
thinks she has to
I did
tell us she's
hybrid.
weird, right? What's up with
I,
that?
I am weird. It is what it is. I've accepted it. I've been weird all my life. Like it is what it is.
I-
But I will say they're really fun to drive.
yeah, they're quick
Really driving.
and
They
quiet.
feel
They
like
Yeah.
a race
they
car.
have
They
a
got
bunch.
more pick up and go than a combustible engine. Like it's fun.
Yeah,
You know,
it
all
is.
those cars have a governor on them because there's pretty much no limit to how fast you can go on those things.
Yeah, yeah,
Has
exactly.
anybody seen a Cybertruck driving on the road?
No, I haven't
Yes.
seen one yet.
I've
Honestly,
seen a few in McKinney.
what did you think it looked like, Sarah? I think it looked like a toaster.
It looks gross.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
And
a
and
tank.
what was funny? So funny story. Our neighbor had one parked in front of their house, and Aiden thought they were the coolest thing when he first heard about it. He said, seen some pictures, and he's like, "Those are awesome." He's like, "That's a Cybertruck. That looks ugly." And I'm like,
well,
"You've
it's
seen
funny.
pictures. You said that you thought they were cool. Yeah, but now that I see it in person, it's not."
I
Oh,
get them
really?
because for years when they talked about bringing out the Wrangler with the pickup truck back end, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get it. It got delayed. It finally came out. I looked at one. I'm like, oh, I hate this thing. You know, so sometimes pictures do not do it justice.
No,
No.
that's true. That's true. Now talk about like with an electric vehicle, an EV. I read something where this woman rented one, and she, had to bring it back to the rental agency fully charged, and she was on the thruway in New York State, and she couldn't find,
Ooh.
a station, and then when she found a station, it wasn't compatible with her car. So I mean,
Until it's available to the everyman and woman, I don't think it's for me. My opinion, I don't think it makes any sense. Like I even was watching a thing about how Tesla was making the solar roofs in Buffalo, New York,
mhm.
and they were only installing them in California when they first rolled them out. And I was watching a guy that had the whole system put in his house, and he had to like take trees down all around his property because they couldn't have any trees obstructing the solar panels. And the break even point was year 10. Okay, there you go. Do you know when you're supposed to replace these things? Year 10.
Oh my God, really?
So I'm like, that really doesn't make any sense to me, you know?
Yeah, well, and what's worse is because we've looked at those, not Tesla specifically, but just solar panels in general. And the thing that always frustrates me, the tax specialist, is they tell me about the tax credits. And I'm like, we had one person coming up and they're like, oh, yeah, you can get so much on taxes. I was like, really? You know my income? You know where I fall in that line? You know how that's going to be applied to my tax return? Or are you just making a blanket statement to tell anybody, even though you know it can be phased out? Or there are other qualifying factors. Like you can't just go and say, hey, I'm going to get this credit for this many years.
Yeah, true.
Like it's
So Don, let me ask you: when Sarah starts talking like that, does it almost feel like she's going to put us in timeout? Am I the only one that feels that way?
it aggravates me with how people lie.
Go in that corner. Think about what you did. Do better next time.
Oh my god. Yeah, and I hate it when people lie to do sales. Like if your product is good, you should be able to tell the truth on everything, not tell me yes to every question if it's not what it does. And I can make the decision then to determine if it's a good amount of money for me to spend for it. But instead, people lie about it. It's like, oh yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, that software can do XYZ that you're asking, and it doesn't.
That's true.
A funny time. We tell horrible stories to people about their life insurance. You know what can happen. You know what I saw happen. You know this and that. You know, well, if you don't want to get it today, that's fine. But I got to tell them Murphy's Law. If you don't get it, bad things happen. I don't know what it is. It's like doom and gloom.
So that's not lying because you have seen it happen.
Oh yeah. The longer we're
So
in
that's
this,
my thing.
the more we've seen.
You're warning them what you've seen is different. Now the ones that keep pushing and trying to incite fear to make it sign, that's a little different. But no, most salespeople are too pushy, and they're like, do you have any questions? No. I've even had it to where when my husband was looking for his car, we go to the car dealerships. We had been like 3 or 4, and I looked at the guy and I'm like, look, you need to come to me with the best offer the first time. If you come back and we say, no, that's not going to work, and you're like, oh, let me see what I could do, we will get up and leave. And he did that exact thing. He came and he gave the offer, and we're like, oh, that's not good enough. And he's like, oh, well, let me go back and check with my manager. No, I told you what was going to happen at the beginning. I told you I didn't want to play this BS game. You come with your best offer, and we will let you know if it works. If it doesn't work, that's fine. We'll go elsewhere. So yeah. Long story short, if you're a salesperson and I come into the store and you need to sell me something, don't use your normal sales tactics. They're not going to work. Please. For my sanity and you to have a nice day.
Oh, to save your sanity, don't be a salesman for Sassy Sarah. Let me tell you what.
No. Well, I usually have my husband do it. I'm like, hey, I want this. Can you go negotiate? Because I'm not the nice one. Like, I can be nice to a point, but I'm not the nice one.
That's a shocker. That's a shocker, Sarah, that you're not the nice one. I'm about to fall over in shock.
No.
So you play good cop, bad cop when you want something.
Yes, and I'm definitely the bad cop. When he becomes the bad cop, it's really, really bad. But yeah, no, he's usually the good cop. He talks to them, and then if I have to say something, then he takes over. It's something I think God is working on me for. We'll see how long it takes for him to fix that.
Well, you're a youngster still, so you got
I'm a firecracker.
like old people like me and Don. Well, Don.
Of course.
Well, the older I get, the worse it gets, because I lose more patience, and I'm like, it's not worth my time. Like, you're wasting my time is what it comes off as.
Yeah.
So let me tell you.
And
I thought I was the loudest person on the phone. I think I either met my match or was surpassed by Sassy Sarah. And especially when she's timing like 2 conversations with somebody else and hollering at somebody. I'm like, is she hollering at me? I don't know anymore.
Oh my God. So I hate it, but my kids do this all the time. I'll be on the phone and then they want to come and have a conversation. And I'm like, I cannot hold 2 different conversations with 2 different people who aren't in the same area. Like, stop. Because as they're talking, he's talking, and I get this, and I'm like,
you get this, and you want this.
Yes. It's like I've always tried to read physical books, but my son, every time he sees me pull out a physical book, he'd come and bother me. I can read a book on my phone, but no, not a physical book.
That's funny.
So do you have anything else you want to say today, Sarah?
When in doubt, ask a tax professional.
Perfect.
And how would somebody get a hold of you, Sarah, through our website?
Through the website, go to the partners page, and I'm number 1.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how.
And I try not to be mean to clients, so
You try.
Don't worry. This doesn't come out on the client.
Maybe that should be your slogan. Maybe you should do a marketing campaign. I try not to be nasty to you. Y'all come on in. Honey, you want some sweet tea? And then I'm gonna go rip you apart.
Well, so
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Yeah, I do try to keep it in check with the clients. Although we don't we don't have a lot of. We have a lot of needy clients. That doesn't bother me. When people ask a ton of questions, I love educating, and I'm patient with that. It's more the people who demand attention and a certain, like, they think they're better than everybody else.
Mm.
That's the part where I get frustrated, and I'm like, I don't know if this is the right fit for the firm.
You do the whole, sir.
I have, and ma'am.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah.
by the
No,
way,
I
did
have.
you notice Donnie tried to do a Southern accent? Do that again, Donnie. I want to hear it.
Yeah, come back now. You hear?
Oh,
I did. I skipped over it. Although his was better than yours.
How dare you? Mine is fabulous.
It is.
No,
fabulous.
yours is mocking. His came off as
not.
if he
That's
just
how
got
I
used to it.
What y'all talking about, Sassy Sarah?
Yeah, see, yours come off as mocking. His comes off as more natural.
You
Like
sound like
That's what you
Gomer
need to work
Pyle.
on.
Until I heard somebody talking like the way I try to talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot talk.
Yeah. It does happen.
No, yeah. And it's funny because everybody, Texas, they have misconceptions when they don't live here, and it's funny because yes, there are Texans here, but there are people from everywhere here,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, Buffalo, it's really funny the amount of people that I meet from Buffalo. I'll be with somebody and they're like, I just don't know anymore. It's just a Buffalo connection, it seems,
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what, Eddie? I need to send this to you. I saw this guy on YouTube. He makes lots of jokes and satire shows. And one of them was he came to Dallas and told the difference between Dallas and Fort Worth. So, like, Fort Worth has shirts that say, "Don't Dallas my Fort Worth." And he's like, they'll stop traffic for the cows to take them through, like, Main Street or whatever. And then you have the Dallas people. They don't know how to drive. They'll say "bless your heart," but they're more country, so they're like Southern but not Southern at the same time. And it's like, yeah,
it is definitely another world. I know when my kids moved to Prosper, Preston Road, that was known as the road that they used for the cattle drives to the trains.
Oh,
Mhm.
And where I'm living now in Greenville, at one point, it was the cotton producer of the world.
really?
Number one producer. It's like, yeah, because it's funny. Like, even here in Greenville, have you been to Greenville, Sarah? Not Greenville. I'm sorry, Grapevine. I meant to say.
Yes, I've been to Grapevine.
And I used to work on the railroad, so I'm not a geek like a lot of people are, but I think it's cool. And it must have been a huge hub for moving cotton in and out.
Yeah.
Because there are so many train stations in Grapevine. They turn them into stores, restaurants and things like that. It's amazing the history of the railroad. I mean, even when I was in Philadelphia, the kids were like right by a nature preserve, and I would ride my bike down there, and they had all cinders for where the train tracks were.
Oh, wow.
And along the, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask this cotton story. You learned about that, and you heard it through the grapevine. Is that correct?
Don't laugh at that, Sarah.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. Next time, warn me so I'm not drinking when you're saying that, because the last thing I want to do is get water spit all over my computer.
What very famous military man was from Greenville, Donnie Lowe? Audie Murphy.
Who?
Audie Murphy.
Sorry.
Come on. You guys are like the same age, aren't you? You didn't know him? Oh my gosh. So I think we're pretty much done today, unless you guys
think
have else to talk about. So tune in tomorrow. It's our 100th episode. We've been going back and forth about different things to do on it. When we did our 50th, we had a ton of people on, and it was just like all over the place. So what we came up with is tomorrow, me, Donnie, and Sarah are going to put their thinking caps on, and we're going to talk about our favorite episode out of the 100 episodes that we did. And I know which one is mine right now. I'm thinking of it already. And it's not the one you're thinking about, Don. So like we say every show, if you like, are you done? Are you done making noise over there, miss? Miss, ma'am. So if you like working with people like us, I don't know why, but we're the people to see. 716-306-2020. Yeah, I fixed the number on the scroll. Did you notice that, Donnie? www.eviagency.com. If you want to get a hold of Sassy Sarah, like she said before, go to the partner tab, click on it, and see Sassy Sarah. You also see a bunch of our other folks, including Nathan, the lawman, and Abby, the law lady. So until we meet again tomorrow, everybody have a wonderful day and stay safe out there. Okay? Take care.
Ciao.
Where's the button, Don? You moved it again.
I moved it on you. You'll find it.